I'm Melanie Norton. This is American Gothic. Here we fucking go. Okay, before I get into my whole spiel, I want to start by saying something. I am not happy that 2 protesters have died in Minnesota. I don't think anybody should be happy. I don't think there is anything patriotic about an American wanting to see harm come to another American. I don't think that's what our country is founded on, and I don't think it's a principle we should embrace. Now, we can sit here and play the blame game all day long. I certainly have my own opinions, and I've been very vocal about them on social media. Not very popular opinions, I might add, and I'm still getting hate mail for it. That's fine. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. What I want to say about that, though, is we need to understand something. Okay? Everyone is entitled to their own opinion, but we also need to find a way to stop making it so personal. Stop taking everything so personal. When I provide a political opinion about a specific issue, it isn't because I'm trying to hurt you. It isn't because I want to offend you or upset you in some way. It's because those are my beliefs. It's what I believe based on my life experience and my values. The lack of mutual respect on both sides of the aisle has hit fever pitch. And it's not necessary. Not only is it not necessary, it's not productive. And I don't think it would even be happening if it wasn't constantly being inflamed and incited by corrupt politicians and their media minions. Imagine for just a moment if we took the peanut gallery out of the equation and had some one-on-one discussions. I'm willing to guess that we would find we have a lot more in common than we think. Now, as far as the immigration issue specifically, which is what I want to talk to you about today, what we have here is a fundamental disconnect. Okay? There is a disconnect between reality and idealism. Let me explain. I don't know if it's due to sheer ignorance, lack of education, or just over-compassionate hearts. I don't know. But many people in our country are conflating human rights with constitutional rights. They are not the same thing. Okay? I understand you may have good intentions. I understand that you're compassionate. But to assume that everyone is entitled to a constitutional right, that's just fundamentally wrong. This error in understanding is causing more damage than I think we realize. I don't know if we'll even be able to repair the amount of damage it's causing. So I think it's important that we start with basics and truly understand the difference between a human right and a constitutional right. Okay, so human rights are fundamental rights. They're rights and freedoms that belong to every person. They're not instituted by a government. They are inherent to existence. These rights ensure dignity, equality, and equal justice for all. Now, human rights are inherent to all individuals simply by being human. Okay? This includes the right to life, education, work, health, and freedom of expression. These rights are universal, meaning they apply to everyone, everywhere, in any country. Or at least that's the intent. As we know, not all nations adhere to the premise of fundamental human rights, but that's the intent. In contrast, constitutional rights are legal protections American citizens by the U.S. Constitution. That means our government guarantees these basic rights to every U.S. citizen. As stated, constitutional rights are primarily designed to protect who? Citizens from government overreach. So, who are they for? U.S. citizens. Let's break this down even more by starting with the preamble, which states, "We, the people of," that means the people of the U.S., "in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity." Posterity means descendants, our lineage, people that will exist in the future. "Do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America." So again, it clearly outlines who the constitutional rights are for: American citizens. It further goes on to expand what the intent behind it is: to preserve liberty for ourselves and our descendants. These things are outlined and infer what the consequences of not adhering to this principle would become. And that's exactly what's happening now. Look around. We have a nation torn apart by injustice, domestic strife, no common defense, no general welfare, and an overall risk to liberty itself. Look, it doesn't mean we don't have a heart. America has proven since its inception that we have always had open arms to those who seek the opportunity to become an American citizen. And yes, our immigration laws are flawed. They need a serious overhaul. It's absolutely ridiculous that the people who come here legally, doing it the right way, are often waiting upwards of 10 years and spending tens of thousands of dollars on legal fees just for the opportunity to become a citizen. I agree 100%. But that is not a free pass to break our country's laws. Okay? It doesn't mean you get to take advantage of our good nature. A nation without laws isn't a nation that will survive. Period. Borders matter. Sovereignty matters. And that, my friends, is why every country has immigration laws. And I think it's something like 34 countries that don't actually have like punishment for breaking their immigration laws. This is not an issue specific to America. The issue is that America has not been enforcing our immigration laws. And the result is that we have millions of illegal immigrants living in our country, utilizing our resources and endangering our communities. It is actually astonishing to me that people in America are freaking out because we want illegal immigrants to simply go home, when there are actually countries right now, today in 2026, that will still kill you for coming over their border illegally. Iran and Saudi Arabia, for example. Let's just take a step back. Let's bring this down to a more personal level, okay? Because most people, they're not honestly going to think about things like this until it shows up on their own doorstep, right? Like, it doesn't affect me. I'm not worried about it. That's over there in Minnesota. That has nothing to do with me. Let's bring this down personal. And I want you to seriously think about these, okay? I'm going to give you 2 scenarios. Tell me, you can either write in the comments below or don't write in the comments below, but at least think about it. Tell me how you would react in each of these scenarios, if you're brave enough to be honest about it. Scenario number 1. What if a family of illegal immigrants, complete strangers to you, just walked into your house, put their luggage down, and said, okay, we live here now, what time is dinner? What would you do? How would you react? Would you just let them stay and tell your family to start sharing their rooms and their bedrooms and their belongings and, get used to living with these strangers? I would not. I would not. Scenario number 2. Let's say you're like in the middle of a winter storm, a bad one like the one we just had. All the stores are closed. You have a newborn baby, and there is only enough formula for 1 bottle left. Your neighbor, who also has a small baby in the home, comes and knocks on your door. She says, I don't have any formula for my baby. Can you please give me some? What do? Are you going to give her your baby's last bottle so her baby can eat and yours can't? I'm sorry, I would not. I would feed my own baby because it's literally my responsibility to feed my baby, like it's her responsibility to feed her baby. Look, you don't have to like what I've said. You don't have to agree with me. But at some point, we're going to have to start speaking the same language. When one side is talking in fundamentals and the other side is talking in philosophy, a conversation cannot be had. We have to agree to take our emotions out of the equation and any thoughts we might have of what a perfect world might be. And we have to start looking at the results of the disconnect. We have to start talking in terms of reality. Now, switching gears a little bit, we can't possibly discuss rights without talking about the arrest and upcoming prosecution of disgraced former CNN host who was fired for unprofessional conduct. Yes, imagine that. I'm talking about Don Lemon. There are a lot of celebrities out here celebrating him and acting like he's sticking up for the First Amendment. There are even people on the right. He's going to blow up and become bigger than life, like some kind of democratic martyr. I don't think so. I don't think his defense of the First Amendment is going to hold weight in court because, as you know, the First Amendment also covers the right to freedom of religion and freedom of assembly. 2 constitutionally protected rights which he violated when he entered that church. You see, when one person's rights come at the expense of another's, that's not freedom. It's oppression. So Don Lemon has been charged with the FACE Act, which is the Freedom of Access to Clinical Entrances Act of 1994. It's a federal law that prohibits the use of force, threat of force, or physical obstruction to injure, intimidate, or interfere with anyone seeking to obtain or provide reproductive health services, including abortion or exercising their First Amendment right of religious freedom at a place of worship. If convicted, Lemon faces up to 6 months in prison and a $10,000 fine. That's really nothing. So, the other reason Lemon's defense of freedom of the press will not hold water is because he wasn't acting like a bipartisan journalist. You can see in the videos of him interacting with the church pastor, he was literally instigating and arguing with the pastor, not asking questions. At one point, he even stated his real intention of being there. Here's the quote. You have to be willing to go into places and disrupt and make people uncomfortable. That's what this country is about. The whole point of it is to disrupt and make people uncomfortable. That's actually an admission of guilt right there. So we know Don Lemon is going to use his press credentials as a crutch for his defense, but I actually take a real issue with that. You see, in most major professions, including government, medical, legal, and other fields, there are oaths that are taken to ensure that people conduct business in a manner which is consistent with the societal expectations of that profession. And there is such an oath in the journalistic field as well. It's called the Journalist's Creed. The Journalist's Creed was written by Walter Williams in 1914, and it outlines the ethical principles and responsibilities of journalists, emphasizing public trust and integrity in reporting. The creed has been universally accepted and used as a standard for journalistic practice ever since then. Now, you can pause the video and read the full text up here somewhere. And then after reading that oath, tell me, in this specific instance where Don Lemon pre-planned to attend a protest designed to break into a private building and disrupt church services, was he acting in accordance with the universally recognized journalistic standards? I say no. A press pass is not a get-out-of-jail-free card. It is not a free pass to break the law and oppress the rights of other people. Now, the most shocking part of this entire story in my is the fact that these people felt it was acceptable to break into a house of worship at all. In this case, it was a Christian church. What if it wasn't? What if it was a mosque or a synagogue? People would have lost their ever-loving minds. It wouldn't be socially acceptable at that point, would it? I doubt it. But that's not even the point. Since like the beginning of time, a house of worship, regardless of what sect it was, has always been considered a safe place where people would not be targeted or harassed by people or government entities. Churches are considered to be sanctuaries in the sense that they provide shelter and protection to individuals, especially those who are fleeing persecution or scrutiny. Historically, churches have served as a place of refuge for people escaping oppression, such as during the Underground Railroad days, or for draft dodgers during the Vietnam War, and yes, for illegal immigrants facing deportation. So now let's circle back to a conversation about rights, specifically the Bill of Rights, starting with the First Amendment, which states, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, the right of people to peaceably assemble, and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. In this one amendment, we have freedom of religion, freedom of speech, freedom of the press, the right to assemble, and the right to petition. In this situation with Don Lemon, he's using his First Amendment rights to oppress the First Amendment rights of the churchgoers. The bottom line here is this, and I will keep shouting it from the rooftops until people start to understand. When one person's rights come at the expense of another's, that's not freedom, it's oppression. And it's un-American.